Ramily. Welcome into Ramsoholic Season 1, Episode 11. As always, I'm your host, Shay. You can find me on Twitter at Shay Tweeted At. You can find the team and all of our content over at Toilets to Titles, on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. On today's episode of Ramsoholic, I'm going to talk about the Kevin Dotson trade, updated cuts on the 53-man roster, final preseason takeaways, and more. Cue the intro.
Let's swap a verse, and I can play ball in real life. So when they make it fun, it never work. They think they offended me. I'm dodging that energy. I know who my friends are now. You currently dead to me. This shit gon' last a century. And every time they mention me, increase my life expectancy. Maybe this my destiny. Loved and hated, then hated and loved. Never betrayed to be a thug, but know a couple who hold slugs. Ain't fighting Spider-Man, but everything I'm spitting venom. Had to look in the mirror and get my shit together. Cause sometimes you think it's over, but it's only getting better. Yeah, good friends going with the wind like Pac said. Legends never die, so we not dead. I'm a fresh white boy, you can call me a pothead. If you say I ain't got bread.
Welcome again, Ramily. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, like, turn on post notifications, support the team over at Toilets to Titles. If you're a returning member, thank you. Smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm. We're closing in on 2K subscribers, so the growth is definitely getting there. And we appreciate every single one of you. Make sure to also check out our Patreon, patreon.com. Toilets to Titles, search for us. We have a bunch of different tiers from $1.50 a month all the way to $20 a month. And if you'd like to interact with the team, you can join our Gilded app where we talk about NFL, fantasy football, college football, gambling, mock drafts. We give you guys input. Just message us there. And let's get right into it. So some breaking news yesterday. I'm recording this on Monday. The Kevin Dotson trade. So Kevin Dotson is a guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In this trade, the Rams get Kevin Dotson, a 2024 fifth-round pick, and a 2025 sixth-round pick. The Steelers get a 2024 fourth-round pick and a 2025 fifth-round pick. So in next year's draft, we went from a fourth to a fifth. 2025, we went from a fifth to a sixth, swapped those two picks out, plus we get Kevin Dotson, who, as of right now, is projected to be a depth piece guard. Some insurance there. Dotson is the Steelers' fourth-round pick in 2020. He's played 39 games in Pittsburgh, including 30 starts. His PFF grades have ranged from 77.6 to 87.2 the last 3 years, and his 16 pressures allowed last year were the 10th fewest of any guard who's played at least 50% of the snaps, per Cameron DeSilva. I felt the Rams were going to make a move of some sort. I did not think it would be for an offensive lineman. I think that Logan Bruss getting moved to tackle behind Rob Havenstein and Ankrum being the only other real guard backing up Noteboom and Avila. I think this is a good depth add. Last year, I think we learned lessons that this offensive line is critical to not only the Los Angeles Rams, but any team in football. Now, the games are won on the interior line and the trenches, So, overall, I would give this trade a B-. I think there's potential that Kevin Dotson can really eventually be a starter if No Boom gets hurt, struggles. Maybe he gets plugged in if Ankrum doesn't. This offensive line now just had another depth piece. As I mentioned, Logan Bruss really has struggled this preseason, as have many other Rams. So it was definitely a big move and one that I think makes sense, low risk, high upside. Today, the Rams actually made some more cuts on their 53-man roster. They let go of Kalishi, on this last name, and Yelapika. Linebacker from Incarnate Ward. Braxton Burmester, receiver from San Diego State. Tim Marcus Davis, defensive back, Arizona State. Tyone Davis, defensive back, Tulsa. Vincent Gray, defensive back, Michigan. This guy, I kind of liked him too. This was not a shocker, but I did call this cut. Tyler Hudson, wide receiver, Louisville, reminded me of a little Danny Amendola out there. Tanner Engel, defensive back, North Carolina State. Jordan Jones, defensive back, Rhode Island. I'm from Massachusetts, so I did know Jordan Jones. I think he played pretty good this preseason, so that was a little bit of a shocker, but I think he will probably make the practice squad. 16 players will make that, maybe a few of these guys. Sean Magan, offensive lineman, Wake Forest. Lance will make him Dance McCutcheon, receiver, Montana State, last year's preseason darling. I also think he has a legit shot at the practice squad. Cameron McDonald, tight end, Florida State. Christian Sims, tight end, Bowling Green. Ryan Smedia Jr., linebacker, Wake Forest. And Teron Vincent, defensive tackle, Ohio State. So more cuts will come tomorrow. The final cuts are due tomorrow, Tuesday. So if you're watching this, they will already have happened. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am definitely excited to finally see this final 53-man roster. Next week episode, we will discuss it, really look in depth at this roster. Could be some surprise cuts tomorrow. A lot of guys are competing, and this is football, man. And as I mentioned, 16 guys will make the practice squad. So some final preseason notes. Let's go over the stat leaders from this preseason. So for passing, our leader in pass attempts, Stetson Bennett. He was 36 of 62, which is a clip of 58% completion percentage for 347 yards, 5.6 yards per attempt, 1 passing touchdown, 3 interceptions, 4.8% interception percentage, a long of 34 yards, sacked 4 times for a loss of 41 total yards, and a QB rating of 59. The rushing leader for us, Zach Evans led the team in attempts with 23, but it was Ronnie Rivers who had the most yards at 105 yards at a clip of 5 yards per carry. No touchdowns. The only 2 rushing touchdowns we had were from Royce Freeman and Stetson Bennett. Ronnie Rivers definitely looked explosive, and it will be hard to cut him, but he is undersized. I don't think Zach Evans is a guy that's going to be cut. He's a big body run back. That could be the replacement for Cam Akers in that first and second down role. Zach Evans did have 23 carries, only 77 yards at a clip of 3.35 yards per carry. Overall, the Rams only had 246 rushing yards, 3.9 yards per carry as a team, 2 rushing touchdowns on 63 attempts. And that was done in 3 games, so not the best. Our opponents had 464 rushing yards, which is 218 more, and they rushed at 5.1 yards per carry with 6 rushing touchdowns. Twice had a long of 40 yards rushing. So definitely, if this was regular season, a concern, but it is preseason, so take it as you will. Receiving leaders, Tyler Johnson had the most receptions as well as yards, 10 catches, 111 yards. No receiving touchdowns. Puka Nacua is the only receiver to have a receiving touchdown. That includes tight ends. Davis Allen, who looked really sharp with 8 catches against the Raiders, finished the preseason with 9 catches, 59 yards, 6.56 yards per catch. Austin Trimmell, 9 catches, 91 yards. And our buddy Lance McCutcheon had a downgrade of a preseason versus last year at 3 catches, 35 yards. Definitely played a big part in his cut. And Ben Skoranek with 4 catches, 32 yards. He's a fullback, so he'll be all right. Overall, we had 460 yards receiving. Our opponents had 827 yards receiving, almost 400 yards difference. They also had 5 receiving touchdowns, while we only had 1. Kicking, Tanner Brown, 4 for 4 extra points, 2 of 4 field goals. Kind of tough going for the rookie. From 20 to 29 yards, he was 1 for 1, 30 to 39 yards, 1 for 2, 40 to 49 yards, 0 for 1. So he didn't bring his boot this preseason, and he gave us 10 points. Punting, Ethan Evans had 19 punts at a clip of 1,017 yards, which is an average of 53.5 yards per kick. Pretty damn good. Long of 65 yards, 4 touchbacks. 7 times he's punted inside the 20. Great. No blocks. And he's had 200 return yards on 9 returns and 1 touchdown. Not good. But that can't be on the kicker, punter. On defense, well, they have Stinson Bennett out here. Hilarious. All right, so Tyone Davis, guy got cut. 9 tackles. Trey Tomlinson, 8 tackles, 6 solo. So he was getting it in. Interceptions, Jake Hummel, 1 interception. And that's all we had all preseason. Byron Young didn't really play much outside the first game. Had that 1 tackle, that 1 sack, but he was a face mask, so it got called back. Really nothing crazy. Sacks, we had Marcus Copeland with 1. Daniel Hardy, half a sack. Tanner Ingle, 1 sack. Quindell Johnston, 1 sack. Keir Thomas, who I really like, 2.5 sacks. Hopefully he stays on the roster. I think he will. So we had 6 sacks this preseason. Our opponents had 7, so we kept it pretty close there. So that's it for stats. Record. The Rams went 0-3. So pretty rough outing. We lost to the Chargers the first game 34-17. And ditto next week. Lost to the Las Vegas Raiders 34-17. And then our last game we lost to the Denver Broncos 41-0. The biggest blowout in preseason history. It was rough this preseason, but it is the preseason. So Stetson Bennett really is the name that has been going around in the Rams community. He's the guy that I think looked really good the first game versus the Chargers. At 17-29, 191 passing yards, 1 touchdown passing. And then it got bad. Against the Raiders, 15-24, 1 interception. And then most recently against the Denver Broncos, had 2 interceptions. Sorry. Rough. Hey, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I think Stetson Bennett can really be the guy after Stafford. It will take some development, and he will have to earn it. I think that after the first game, my confidence definitely has gone down on that statement. I really hope he can develop and not just be a backup, because to me, a backup quarterback being drafted in the 4th round isn't really worth it. I'd rather develop someone in the second round that could eventually be a starter in time, or, it looks like we would have to probably go to free agency in that case. So we finished 32nd in total offense, defense, and special teams. So depth definitely will be crucial for us, and I hope that guys like Stafford, Cobb, Van Jefferson, Donald, Higbee, Akers, Johnson, Fuller, Durant, these guys coming out are really going to show you that preseason doesn't matter. Last time we went 0-3 in the preseason, we won the Super Bowl, so take it with what you will. The Rams. I have some notes on what it's going to take for us to make the playoffs next year. As you all know, I have us going 10-7. I am sticking with that, although looking at the AFC North, which is the division we play in the AFC, it's looking pretty damn good. Pittsburgh's looking like a sleeper team. Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, year 2. This year going in as the starter without all that drama. Baltimore Ravens getting Odell Beckham, Trey Flowers, J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Jackson on a big contract. That team could be really good. And we already know Cincinnati Bengals, always one of the best teams in football. We beat them in the Super Bowl a few years ago, so I'm sure they're going to have revenge on their mind. But I'm sticking at 10-7. Big things that the Rams are going to need to really step up with the edge. The edge is going to have to be crucial for us if we're not getting a lot of pressure and Aaron Donald's getting triple teamed. There's an issue. When we made the Super Bowl, we drafted Dante Fowler. When we won the Super Bowl, not drafted, we traded for it. And when we won the Super Bowl, we traded for Von Miller. If we're really trying to compete this year, we may have to address that at some point. A lot of the big edge veterans are gone now. Linebacker, Roseboom. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Glenn Lake, I'm sure he's going to get some play time there. But that's definitely a position of need. We did have Bobby Wagner there last year, and he did great for us. Was the highest rated linebacker in football. Wide receiver 2 is going to have to step up and help Cooper Kupp. Van Jefferson's never been a wide receiver 2. I do think Paku will eventually overtake that role. Tutu Atwell, we're going to need a big season from him, whether it's the 3, 4, 5, whatever. He's going to be a guy that comes in when we need that bomb, that big play, those third and longs. Tutu Atwell is going to have to show us why we took him in round 2. The cornerback room is young, but I really like it. It's super talented, led by Kobe Durant, Witherspoon, bringing some veteran presence there. Darion Kendrick's been injured, and Trey Tomlinson. Let's just hope these young guys could step up, perform well for us. Obviously, we know Raheem Morris likes to play back with his corners. So it's a position that in the NFL, it's a big passing league. You need that. You need a good cornerback room if you're really going to be a dominant team, unless you have a crazy pass rush. And lastly, let's stay healthy, right? Should be obvious. Last year, injuries piled up, Super Bowl hangover. Maybe we had too big of an ego. I think people were falling under the radar this year. I feel super confident the Rams will make the playoffs at 10-7. Second place in the NFC West. Hopefully, San Francisco now letting go of Trey Lance. Brock Purdy doesn't step up, and he shows that he was a one-hit wonder and shows why he was the last pick in the draft. Seattle has Geno Smith. Maybe he goes back to the other 8 seasons and is below average. Hey, it's football. Anything can happen. What happened last year is not going to happen this year. There's always going to be sleeper teams, and I think the Rams will be that sleeper team. I think our fan base right now is split on tank or compete. I'm on the compete. When you have a quarterback like Stafford, you have a wide receiver like Kupp, when you have a defense tackle like Donald and a coach like McVay, that core right there is super strong compared to a core like Kansas City. You just need everyone else to perform, and it's football, and that can happen, and it will happen. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We really appreciate the love, Ramily and Title Tribe. As always, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. I'm Ramsoholic. I'm out.
It's 4 a.m. in New Bedford, I'm getting my shit together. City just ain't safe, these kids down for whatever. Letting the lead fly, they flocking just like a feather. I couldn't stay there forever, career not getting better. I ain't no rapper, can't imagine not getting cheddar. They posting pics in their base models, not even leather. It's not even leather. It's 4 a.m. White, wait. The city just ain't safe. I'm still here, nothing changed.